just want to start by reflecting on that night at Edgeley Park against Bolton. I'm sure you've spoken about it a lot, but it's been a few weeks now since that match. It was such a historic night. Just when you look back on it now, what are your sort of emotions and feelings towards it?
I suppose exactly the same as they were at the time. Like you say, moves on pretty quickly. Seems a long time ago. But in terms of a game, had everything. I think from a neutral's perspective, anyone who watched or was at the game will certainly remember it for a long time, as we all will. And they're always better occasions when you win. And what it does is it gives you, I suppose, enhanced motivation to want that to happen again and happen more frequently and have more games that have, I suppose, as much meaning. And hopefully we'll get that not just tomorrow, but moving forward in the season.
The feeling the players would have had at full time, do you want them to sort of take that into tomorrow night at Rotherham?
Yeah, I think you have to enjoy every victory. It's obviously easier to, and probably there are bigger celebrations depending on what the game is and how the game potentially goes. But regardless of it be winning an FA Cup tie or a league game, you want to celebrate everything. I'm not a great celebrator, if I'm honest. Fly on me. But certainly from a player's perspective, yeah, absolutely, because there are lots of people involved in football that don't have the opportunity to do that as frequently as maybe we hope we'll have. So, yeah, absolutely enjoy it as best as you can.
And since then, you've gone from strength to strength in the league as well. How much of a platform has that given you to build on in these last few games? Obviously, not lost yet as manager of Stockport, and how big a platform could even progressing tomorrow night give them for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think it was really important that you go into a game against a team from a couple of leagues above you, and you're able to compete. I think that gives real belief in terms of what you're asking the players, and real reinforcement in terms of the way we want to go about it is something that could be successful. That's been brilliant. Obviously, it's given us a like you say, a platform then to go and win games in the league, which is the most important thing. And you want to try and keep momentum running as best as possible. That becomes a little bit more difficult around this time of the year with I suppose more of a sporadic league programme with FA Cup and FA Trophy coming up and those types of things. But it's about winning games, and if we can continue to do that, regardless of what competition it's in, then hopefully we can have a good season, and most importantly, some real meaning at the back end of it.
And you mentioned it there, but 19 goals in your first 6 matches in charge. How far can this team go, do you feel, Dave?
I said to the players after the games we played recently, they can go and achieve what they want, really. What we have to do is control what we can control. There's loads of variables within football, but if the group we've got apply themselves with the ability we have, then we know we can be a match for any team in this league. And we have to do that every single day. So every single day on the training pitch, it's to see a better version of us, better version as a management team, better version as players, and ultimately don't let anything stop us. Likewise on game days, it's about over a 90-minute game or 120 minutes if it's longer, seeing a better version of us moving forward as a team. We've had a really or relatively short time together in terms of what we've been able to work on, because you're trying to I suppose pin down principles and philosophies, but at the end of the day, it's about winning football matches, and we've got to be making sure that we still continue to do that whilst evolving as a group and as a team. I think the players have done that magnificently over the first sort of 2 or 3 weeks, and like I say, I've got reward and reinforcement from the performances they've produced by winning games, looking convincing, scoring goals, and playing well and getting results against teams at a higher level than ours. So that's really, really positive signs, and hopefully they can continue.
One player I did want to ask you about is Ollie Crankshaw. You seem to have really got a bit of an extra gear out of him. Obviously scored a hat-trick last time out. He's been on fire lately. What have you done with him specifically, or how much have you enjoyed working with Ollie?
Yeah, I think Ollie was in decent form when we came into the club. He's obviously quite or newish to the squad and to the team, but his career here started really well. I suppose we played him in certainly in a 4-3-3, if you like, or slightly a 4-4-2 in the first game at Bolton. We then made a decision to change shape, played him as I'd say a right wing back, but he wasn't really a right wing back. He was a very attacking player against Bromley. But then obviously going into the second Bolton game, if you like, he came out the side, not based around his performances, based around the shape we wanted to play and the way we thought was best to go. So I think from a player's perspective, once you have a little bit maybe of a thought process that and you box yourself, I'm a certain player, I play wide right or I play wide left in a 4-3-3, it can restrict what you do. His concerns will be where he plays in the team in the current shape that we've got. But I think what he has shown over the last couple of games is that he's an attacking player, and shape and things that you might play really are out of possession. In possession, what you want to do is your forward players to go and affect the game. He's done that really well, and affecting the game and being efficient is ultimately what's going to get you picked. So in the top end of the pitch, if you're scoring goals and you're assisting goals, then you have a real good chance. I think the real good problem that I have and we have at the minute is that we've lots of players up the top end of the pitch that are really being a threat or scoring goals, and like I say, that's a great position for us to be in, and long may that continue.
How do you handle that then as a manager? Is it the cliches, it's a good problem to have, but do you enjoy sort of trying to manage that situation?
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. There are a lot worse problems to have. But ultimately, the players know that they're not daft. That I've been there. We all want to play in every game. The game's moved on from where it was, where players potentially play 60 games a season. That doesn't happen. And they know that they'll get their opportunities. They get their opportunities every day to show us what they're about. And it's about taking them and keeping them fresh in themselves fresh in our minds in terms of. There'll be games where people don't play well. There'll be games where people don't take the chances that are created. Players know within the dressing room that they need to look round and know that regardless of where you play, you're under pressure because there's somebody not far behind you wanting to take your place. And that's like I say, it's a really good place to be. You have to keep that competitiveness. It's something the players have, I suppose, agreed to in terms of their values at the start of the season, so they know where they're at. And like I say, we're in a strong place with such depth within the squad, and it keeps everybody on the toes and everybody motivated.
Just a word on the opposition. Obviously, tomorrow night, top of League One, going incredibly well at the minute. 17 unbeaten. I think it's a club record. I'm right in saying under Paul Warne. It speaks for itself. It's going to be a tough night for you.
Yeah, it doesn't get any tougher. They are deservedly, in my opinion, top of League One. They test you in every aspect of the game. So technically, we know we're going to be tested. Tactically, absolutely, and physically, in terms of the demands they put on the opposition. But it's something that we've tried to do ourselves over the short time we've been here, and we're going there to, I suppose, to match ourselves against what are a really good football team that undoubtedly, come the end of the season, will be up and around the top of League One, and we're looking to get into the Championship. As I said before the previous game, it's a really good marker for us around where we're at, because we aspire to be what they are, and we go there respecting what they do and knowing we're going to be absolutely at our best in order to get anything from the game, but go with real belief and real confidence that we can put in a performance and hopefully show again how far we've come in a short space of time, and get ourselves into the draw for that next round.
And just finally, any team concerns going into it?
Only real I suppose negative from the Wealdstone game is Jordan Keane. Obviously came off. He's the only one that's, again, a question mark in terms of, especially with the games we've got coming up. It may be an opportunity to sort of take him out and let a problem solve, so that we know that, I suppose, short-term pain for him in terms of missing a game, maybe have long-term game and long-term benefits. Apart from him, everyone else is fine. As you could guess, with the magnitude of the game, everyone wants to play. So we've tough selections to make, but like I say, as we said previously, good problems.
Nice one, Dave. I appreciate your time.
No problem. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Sam Byrne.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for talking to us again.
No problem, Sam.
Just to start with you personally, it's been a month now that you've been in charge of the football club. I suppose it's been a whirlwind for yourself. So how do you reflect, firstly, on these past 4 weeks for you, for the football club, and for your players?
Yeah, as you say, it has been a whirlwind. Lots of games involved in that time. Probably not had huge time to reflect, because the games become thick and fast, and you're more concentrated, or you're more in the moment around trying to get results. But I think it's been a really good start. Players have been and staff have been brilliant in terms of the ideas that we've put across. They've been really keen to take them on board and put them into practice, and there have been benefits within that, which is great and brilliant in terms of reinforcement that that's the best way to go. From my perspective, the resources that are on offer here, if you like, are brilliant in terms of being a coach and being a manager. To be able to focus and concentrate on the players and what happens on the pitch has been great. Took a little bit of getting used to. And still will take time to utilise them to the best of, or how to utilise them the best. But the biggest thing is that it's been really enjoyable. Like I say, I'm really appreciative of the job I've got, regardless of where it is. I love being out on the pitch on the training pitch with the players. Great environment around the training ground. Obviously help when you're winning. We all do it to win. I've been fortunate enough to be successful over my time as a manager, and I want that to continue. But recognise that you need, first off, to stick to your principles around working hard, but you need a little bit of luck. And hopefully the next, certainly 5, 6, 7 months for us follow the path as the first month have. And if it does, then it'll be a very exciting time ahead of us.
You touched on injury news there, obviously, for tomorrow, but I just wondered more about not the fitness of your team, but how the past few weeks have taken its toll on your players, and how they manage the likes of Woking away, Wealdstone away, all these long journeys, Torquay away to come, along with the FA Cup and the other competitions that we're going to be coming up in shortly as well. How the players are getting on in that aspect of things.
They're fine. I think the big thing around that is, and it would be the same when I've been there as a player, all that travelling and being on coaches and buses and in hotels always seems a little bit worse when maybe you're not winning games, and maybe you're not producing performances that we have, and maybe you're not scoring the goals or the opportunities you've created. I think what the players have done is they've built momentum, and there's certainly optimism within our dressing room, within our training ground. That certainly helps with the sort of logistics around travelling and transport and all those things. Plus, what we have done is we've earned ourselves the opportunity to play in some big games, which as a player you absolutely want to be involved in. And as I say, the motivation comes from within, but also comes from looking over your shoulder and knowing that if you are feeling a little bit tired, and that travelling's taking it out of you a little bit, that if you're not producing day to day, that someone's very capable of coming in and taking your place, and all of a sudden you not being involved. So those things take care of themselves, why things are going well, and hopefully things continue to go well.
Just to touch on personnel briefly, you've been big so far on giving all the players their opportunity at the club, and one player that's come back into the fold this week is Tom Walker. finishing his loan at Altrincham. Do you see scope for Tom to get those opportunities as the other players have done under your reign so far?
Yeah, absolutely. If Tom, again, first and foremost, players need to produce day-to-day in training. So Tom, even though he was out at Altrincham, has been back in training with us at times when he was able. I think everybody wants to come in and try and impress a new manager. Ultimately, like I say, you get the chance to do that every day, but there's no better way of doing it than in games. So he will get chances in games. He's obviously cup-tied for tomorrow, having played some minutes for Altrincham against Gateshead, so won't get his chance tomorrow. We then obviously have a game Tuesday, and looking further down the line, we've lots and lots of games coming up. There's the FA Trophy where potentially we'll look at things, but players will get a chance. It's up to them then to embrace that and take that chance. What I will say is, with Tom, undoubtedly he has ability. We have lots of ability at the top end of the pitch, so he knows, again, having or being out of it and having been out and played some or looked to play some minutes at Altrincham, that he's got to work extra hard to not only get himself that chance, but when that chance comes around, make a statement and show that he is not just happy being here. He wants to be in the team and he wants to take somebody's place. And like I say, I've real big hopes that he'll do that.
You touched on it there, the FA Trophy. So I know you'd mentioned in terms of Bolton and Rotherham that you couldn't really have had two tougher FA Cup draws in your time here, but then to kind of marry that up with a trophy as well and have one of the toughest draws in the National League, albeit at Edgley Park. How do you assess the FA Trophy? I know it's a cup you've had success in. How much stock is that the club holding that, should I say, this season?
Yeah, I think as with every competition, in terms of the draw, I'm sure Grimsby will be saying exactly the same thing. When the draw came out, both teams are probably going, I wish it had been a little bit easier. I wish it had been somebody else. But it is what it is. In terms of the competition, I suppose even within that, you have to make decisions. We're fortunate to have a big squad, a strong squad. We can mix things up if we need to. But ultimately, as I said previously, it's about momentum and it's about winning football matches regardless of what competition you're playing in. There's one thing for certain, and I know from, like I say, previous experience, that the further competitions go, the more, not importance, but the more, I suppose, players, supporters, club, maybe take them a little bit more seriously. One thing's for, like I say, for sure, you can guarantee that there'd be no or nothing better than at the end of the season being able to go to Wembley and enjoy a cup final. That's for sure. Having been there, like I say, having been there previously, having won the competition. Similarly, probably in earlier rounds, especially if you played against teams that were maybe a little bit lower, you would mix things up and play players that needed minutes, but becomes a little bit more serious when you get to the quarter-final and the semi-final, and ultimately a day out at Wembley is something that people remember for an awful long time. So that's a long way away at the minute, but ultimately, if it's a competition that we can win, we want to try and win.
Just to touch again briefly on personnel, working with Clint Hill again at County, how's that been for you so far? How's Clint settled into his role, and how happy are you with the dynamic of your backroom team at the moment at the club? Yeah,
Clint's fitted in brilliantly. It's like I say, it's an easy group, a good group to fit in. I suppose even from their perspective, there will be more demands placed on them from me in terms of them having a voice and them having an opinion. I'm really a big believer that this is I'm not really one around hierarchy, and this is a management team, and we'll need everybody giving their opinion and giving their thoughts, honest thoughts, in order for us to progress and move forward. And people will be encouraged to say what they think, and ultimately, I suppose, cause debate amongst ourselves around what they think, what's the way forward. And Clint knows how I work. Like I say, we've known each other a long time, going back from playing, worked together for a short time, but will be, as the other members of staff are, a really valued member. And things are, like I say, things have started really, really well. And I envisage that it'll only get better.
just finally then, from me, touching on tomorrow, obviously you've mentioned how difficult that'll be for Stockport County, but I think one thing it's fair to say under yourself so far is that County have shown they won't fear anyone, regardless of home or away, regardless of the level of the opposition. Is that an approach that County will be keeping hold of for the trip tomorrow?
Yeah, we're going to be positive, absolutely. We're going to try and win the game. It may be that maybe for the first time that we have to try and win the game in a different manner, dependent on what's thrown at us in terms of how Rotherham go about it. But we know that we're going to have to be at our best. We're going to have to defend really, really well. We're going to have to defend our goal. We're going to have to deal with what they chuck at us. But on the flip side of it, we want to cause them problems. We think we can do that, and that will be the sort of, I suppose, mindset going into it, and what the players will be encouraged to do. Regardless of what happens, we know that we're going to have to work our socks off. We're going to have to really leave everything out there, but it's something that we're prepared to do in order to win.
Thanks a lot for your time, Dave, and good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam. Gary Carter.
Hi, Dave. You all right?
Hi, Gary. Yeah, good. Thanks, you.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Can I just touch on one of your players, really? Are you impressed at how Macaulay Southern-Hales has adapted to your way of working, and also the higher standard of opposition, particularly in Bolton replay?
Not really, because I've worked with Macca before. Obviously had him at Hartlepool from Fleetwood, and was a player that we wanted to keep whilst I was there. So know what he brings. Know that he's obviously played in League One before and has dropped down to this level, but still has aspirations of playing higher, and hopefully we can have the success that allows him to do that. But Mac is the type of player that he does everything. He's all in with everything in terms of how he defends, how he attacks, and for people that are watching, he certainly takes the eye. So he can certainly improve. We know that, but he has the sort of the characteristics and the requirements to certainly play higher, and is willing to challenge himself to do that.
Do you remember Paul Warne, the player? Did you play against him?
I probably will have done, but again, my memory playing wise that's a long time ago when I played. So no, I do, but whether I will have played against him, I'm not sure. I certainly know that Paul Moore, the manager, is doing a great job. So I'm sure we'll be able to potentially reminisce and ask whether we played against each other after the game.
Without sort of asking whether you played against him, what do you remember of him as a player? He was a strike. He was like one of those sort of strikers, like annoying strikes that always pops in the right place at the right time, wasn't he?
I think with Paul as a player, his teams reflect what he is as not just as a player, as a person, someone that worked unbelievably hard and will expect his players to do. Very clear in what he wants them, and very detailed, and gets the best out of the group he's got within that dressing room. I think he's really stuck to those beliefs, and regardless of success in terms of coming out of the Championship, if you like, has stuck to that, and I truly expect them to be right in the mix come the back end of the season and get promoted back into the Championship.
Has it been important this week to not build Rotherham up too much? I mean, they are top of League One unbeaten now long, but if you sort of can keep sort of ramming it home to your players, that can sort of get in their heads, can't it? And almost like builds up a fear factor, I guess. No,
listen, we've got a respect for the opposition we play against, and that doesn't change regardless of us playing against Woking, Wealdstone, Bolton, Brom. It makes no difference. So we'll go through our stuff in terms of detail, in terms of recognising the strengths of opposition, in terms of putting that into the players' minds and giving them a visual on the training pitch and in meetings and video things. Ultimately, then we focus on us and the stuff that we need to do in order to cause them problems. And like I say, that's worked pretty well over the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, and we hope that continues tomorrow.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Gary.
Cheers, Gary. Stephen Oldham.
Afternoon, Dave. Cheers for your time.
Hi, Stephen. You all right?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted a quick word on Scott Quigley and Paddy Madden, really. We've seen them flourishing in the past few weeks. Do you think that they can cause Rotherham a lot of problems tomorrow night?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we have is players up the top end of the pitch at the moment that are scoring goals and creating opportunities for themselves and for each other, and long may that continue. The two of them have played higher, and Paddy certainly has played at that level, so knows what it's about. Certainly think Quiggs has the ability to do that. Probably his move when he went to Blackpool didn't work out as he would have hoped and has dropped back down, but has scored goals in League Two and is in a really good run of form with us. So we have players in the attacking end of the pitch that we think can cause them problems if we start with a base and a foundation and a framework to allow us to do that, and hopefully that'll be the case.
What difference do you think the fans will make tomorrow night? You've got roughly 2,500 fans coming to the game tomorrow night. Could it be another Bolton type of atmosphere?
Hopefully, yeah, and that's a, like I say, that's a responsibility from our perspective as a group to make sure they are in the game and we can use them to our advantage, if you like. So our start to the game will be important. Hopefully, it's certainly better than the home game against Bolton. And we don't give ourselves a mountain to climb too early. But yeah, listen, our travelling support has been amazing, and hopefully we give them another special night in this competition.